Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Campfire Passport podcast. It is episode 23. The greatest NBA player of all time, Michael Jordan.
Correct.
Is rest in peace. Oh, never mind. I was going to make like an office joke. There's definitely an office joke to be had there that I just flubbed right off the get-go. Dang it. Oh, no, it's Christmas Vacation. God rest her soul. Is she dead? No. Anyways, episode 23. We've got Briley Taylor as a guest today. His Instagram is 6 feet under fab. He is a great listen, super interesting guy. One of the few times in our very small run of episodes we've had anybody with a little bit of an accent, which is fun. He's got some awesome vehicles. He's got a couple really cool rigs. You should look at his Instagram and find out yourself. I'm not going to tell you what they are. We will talk about them here in just a second on the podcast. But otherwise, we just kind of get into regular rig stuff. We have a little conversation, which we like to have with guests these days, and it's a good time. Other than like, comment, and subscribe, you got any good news, Colin?
No good news. Oh, but no news is also good news.
That is true. Aside from that, I have a different thing. Depending on how far in the future this actually is, Colin's beautiful Wagoneer is for sale, and you should buy it for full price, or maybe more. Maybe you should give him like 10% maybe over asking, or $10,000 over asking. I don't know, because it's beautiful, it's well sorted, it's never been beat on. We've never talked on the channel about driving it hard, and there's no video evidence of this, so it's fine. Please buy it and enjoy the podcast. I also like that you're in the shop. I'm like the only person that doesn't do it in the shop. I really should do that.
Like I was trying to get them to go to bed. Like 8:30 is their bedtime, and of course, I was like, I got stuff to do at 9:00, and so I was trying to get them into bed, get them in and out of the bathtub, and everything like that. So I was like, I actually have something important to do.
Wow, important. That's that's the first time we've been referred to that way.
Yeah, exactly. I have that same problem. Every time I really have something like a hard time, and it's not really the normal time, like this is a little earlier than we normally record, I blew it apart. Like, I'm cooking dinner 10 minutes ago. I got a work training playing in the background. Sorry if anybody that I work with hears this. I'm like trying my best to get all of my shit together. And then I sat down at 5:58 and I was like, oh God, we're here.
So where are y'all at?
We're in Central Oregon.
Yeah. Yep. And you're South Carolina? So North Carolina. All right.
Okay.
Nice.
Have y'all ever heard of Greenville, North Carolina?
Yeah.
It's like a party town. I'm like 30 minutes away from that.
We call it Greenville. Sorry, I could not.
I'm like 30 minutes from the east.
Okay, nice.
That's kind of where I tell people, like, oh yeah, we kind of know where you're at.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure that's where Dave Mirra was from, right? Okay. That's how I knew that.
We used to ride bikes from in town, and one of my buddies, he got really good, and we actually got invited to ride with Dave Mirra, BMX, a couple
Oh my God,
yeah.
That is so cool. That is what a hero.
I was but I mean, watching him Like it was unbelievable. I mean,
Oh,
it really was. And he was like shorter than me. Like I think I'm a short person, but he was like I always thought he was like like 6 something, but I mean he was kind of on the short side.
really? Yeah. I mean, you think about him like larger than life, like
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
legend.
I mean, he was like I'm probably like 5'8" or something, and like um he was a little bit shorter than I was. I mean,
Hmm.
it was yeah.
Huh.
I feel like I
But
probably knew that at some point, but that's something I haven't even thought about for so long. Well, that's cool. We always end up. It seems like we do this every time we have somebody new
Yeah.
here. Like we end up. There's always an action sports background, or like Colin and I. I said this last time, so it's going to sound like a broken record, but Colin and I come from like Volkswagen Audi stuff, and so like there's always some weird tie-in where someone's like, "Oh, I have this," or "I used to do that," or and off-road specifically seems to get a lot of like action sports people. Like it's a natural transition.
yeah, there's actually a lot of BMXers that I see that I follow on Instagram. Follow like BMX stuff, and then now they're like hardcore off roaders. I'm just like it's kind of weird. Like I probably could think of not name them, but I could think of like 15 guys like that,
Yep.
which I mean that's a pretty big number to me. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I believe it. I mean, it makes perfect sense. I don't know why, but it is the way that it goes.
yeah,
What how did you so what's your automotive story? How'd you get to here? What's your deal?
I mean I started well like my first Jeep. I would say my parents got for me when I was like 16. They told me if I got my Eagle Scout, they would help me get like a CJ7 project. So I buckled down and got my Eagle Scout, and then they got me the Jeep, and it
Nice.
was 1979 fiberglass bodied. It was horrible, but it was so I got it home and I was looking at it, and I'd been driving it to high school. Like it had zero top, like zero doors, like nothing. I mean, it got rained in like all the time, and it was like my dream vehicle. And everything just kind of progressed from there. I started working on it just because it was a huge piece of crap. The roll bar wasn't even bolted to the frame; it was bolted to fiberglass. So,
Yeah.
so like, I think my parents did something, but yeah, so I sold it pretty quick, and then I got it, and started building the Cherokee, and then it just escalated into this.
As they do.
Pretty,
Yeah, that is the slippery slope.
I have spent a lot of money.
You don't say.
Yeah,
Oh, that's good. And Jeeps always the thing? No going different directions?
I had I had a Tacoma. I had a 2005 Tacoma that um, it was moderately built. It had like 36-inch high rocks on it. It had all pro bumper in the rear, ARB in the front, and it was like I think 488 gears that I beat the absolute snot out of. That Tacoma, I mean, I hate to say it, but it saw more mud than like a swamp rat, and I just ruined it. But I had the Tacoma around the same time that I had the CJ, so I was 16. Uh, no, I was probably 17, 18, somewhere in there. But so I realized, quickly that that Tacoma couldn't really hold up to what I wanted to do. Jeeps they were easier to work on. I'll say
Yeah.
Tacomas you can work on, but Jeeps, I mean, you could pretty much fix them in the driveway. Where at Tacoma, you got to have like a game plan. Um,
Yeah, I mean, the difference between especially like a CJ and a Tacoma, right? Like you're talking about something that's really basic, really rudimentary, but set up specifically for off-road versus a passenger truck that is like, yeah, it's for cruising back and forth to work and it can go off-road. So
but
it
I was
makes
I
sense.
was like I was dumb, man. I was dumb, but I just to make it just hard for off roader, and ruined it. Like it got stuck in 4-wheel drive, and I just drove it. I just I, I, it,
Oh
it was
well.
like 4-wheel drive for like 3 weeks.
My let's see, it's Thursday. My center locker in my Land Cruiser has been stuck on for 4 days, and I think it's too slick outside to unlock, but I've tried everything that I can do aside from actually like trying to fix it, like get out and do something, but I'm on and off with the button, in and out of low range, and I'm like, I don't know. I
What else can
weave
we
it through
do?
the parking lot. It makes it pretty fun in the slick stuff to drift around, so whatever. It's fine. That's great. How long have you had the truck, the Comanche? That thing is super cool.
So me and my little boy, we went and bought that. It was the first time I'd ever took him to buy like, a vehicle, and he was it's probably been 4 years. I bought that truck 4 years ago. I mean, he was small, and I paid seven. I think I paid $700 for it,
Nice.
and completely gutted. Somebody was about to do something to it because it didn't have a dash, it didn't have any interior, it didn't have a motor, no a wiring harness. Everything was
Dang.
stripped, and I think somebody was about to put like a small block Chevy in it or something. I don't know, but um, I got it home, and then I bought a Cherokee that was rusted out, and I took the drivetrain from the Cherokee and put all into the Comanche, and so it was kind of like a budget build
Yeah.
Comanche,
Nice.
and then it escalated from there.
Little bit.
Slightly.
What, was it a situation? Was it one of those like, oh, I broke it, so now I'm gonna like, since I broke the Dana 30 front 3 times, I'm gonna do tons
Well,
or what? Like, how'd you get there?
so actually, it's really bad to admit. I had a set of trail ready beadlocks in my shop, and I was like, man, those trail readies look really cool underneath that Comanche. It was, and they were Super Duty lug pattern, and
Well, I
so
know. I can fill in the blanks here.
so
It-
Dana 30 and have to worry about it, or do I just put like a Super Duty axle in the front or and something in the rear? So I kind of went that route, and I just bypassed the Dana 30 stuff, and I went to well, actually, the front. What's interesting about the front, and what a lot of people don't know, is that's actually a Dana 50 in the front of
Ah.
that Command.
okay.
And most of the time when people hear that, especially online, they just eat
Yep.
me up, and they're just like, oh. But the what's cool about it is I actually shaved a massive chunk off the bottom of that Dana 50, and I probably cut. I want to say it was close to 2 inches off the bottom of that differential, and then
Wow.
plated it up, and then took a Dana 60 cover and cut it and did the same. And so, like a lot of times when people look underneath it, they look at me like, "What is that?" I'm just like,
Yeah.
Dana's. I mean, a Dana 50.
Yeah.
Because when you take like the Dana 50s, when you take them off, I don't know if you've ever seen inside of them. It's like you take off this huge differential cover, and then it just looks like a Dana 44 on the
Mhm.
inside.
Okay.
I mean, it was like this much room at the bottom that it was just low hanging fruit. So
Wow.
I took it off. I mean, it's just something different. I mean, it's a conversation. And I've wheeled Windrock, I've wheeled Uwari, Gulches, and knock on wood, I've never had an issue with the Dana 50.
Yeah.
39 KM3s on it. I still got the 4 liter in it, and I mean I drive like I have some sense, but if I get good and pissed off, I'm gonna
I
have
hear you.
another Dana 50 out in it, and that's it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
We have a local guy that's got a first gen Forerunner that's got a Dana 50 front, and he did it years ago, and it's the same kind of thing where it's like kind of a quiet thing where nobody ever really talks about it. But every once in a while I remember or I hear about it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that is weird. But I think it's narrow.
Well,
right?
no. So what it is he found out. I don't know how he found this out or figured this out. Probably just because he had so many extra parts laying around. But you can actually just use Dana 50 internals in a Toyota axle. So he runs the Dana 50 shafts in a Toyota axle. So, and somehow it all works out because the splines, because the 50 it necks down versus with a 60, it like necks down at the splines. And apparently that's the exact size and spline count as Toyota diffs. And so they're just in a freaking Toyota axle. It's, I don't know how exactly it works like that, but it does.
Okay, well,
yeah,
that's crazy.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, that's a weird one. Looking at your YouTube, I want to know if you're really a funeral home director.
I am. I'm a funeral director, and I manage a funeral home here in town.
Man, that's the best YouTube tagline, and it's even better that it's just a regular thing. Like if I just put my job title on my
Yeah. I don't know if y'all can see it right above the Cherokee's hood. I actually have some caskets, like some showpiece caskets on my wall. But
All right.
I actually have a casket in here. But I mean, it's a family business.
Okay. That makes sense.
I work with my dad. Yeah.
Yeah, well.
And this is like, when I tell people like this, everything behind me, this is my therapy. Like if I have like a super day at work, like I just think about coming home and just like welding something, fixing something, modifying something. That is like, if it wasn't for this, I would be in, therapy every single day. No joke.
Therapy that would probably cost about the
cheaper,
same.
It's got to be the same price. Yeah.
Yeah, just not nearly as fun.
That's good. Oh God, no. So what's the story on the Cherokee then?
So the Cherokee, I actually found it right behind the funeral home that I work at.
All right.
This lady had it in her yard, and had been seeing her around town, and I'd be like, what you gonna do with that thing? And she was like, oh, that thing's a classic. It's a classic. It's only got so many miles on it. And I was like, yeah, that it's probably, she's probably going to be wanting too much for it for what it's worth. And I ended up talking enough, junk to her. Not junk. I was nice about it, but I ended up like, hey, I really want to build one of these, and this, that, and the other. And we finally agreed on if I came and got it out of her yard and fixed it and I gave her a ride in it, then I could have it for free. So she gave it to me absolutely free. She signed the title over to me, and then I started just tearing it down. I was undecided about the motor, so it had a 360 in it. I got it to crank, but it had absolutely no power at all. I don't know if y'all have ever messed with the AMC 360s, but they have like, I think it's 100 something horsepower.
Yeah,
like 100, like they are they're anchors. And decided I've always been against LS swaps just because I don't know, I like Chevy and Jeeps and stuff like that, and you read on the internet LS swaps are boring, but I mean I decided to do it. I found a deal on a 5.3. A buddy of mine stopped in town. He had a Suburban, and he was like, man, this thing's got a good 5.3, a good transmission. He was like, I'll sell you the whole thing, and if the motor's bad, I'll replace the motor. So I was like, well, I guess I'm LS swap. And honestly, like I don't regret it at all. I mean, it runs really good. Like I drove, like tonight, I took my little boy to karate and I took him to Boy Scouts and just like I was driving a Camry.
Yep.
Yeah, just a
Just
regular
a
old
regular
vehicle.
old truck.
Yeah, it's just like a mini.
Yeah, I mean you're talking to two guys that have LS swapped rigs, so like I get it, and I'm a little bit more on the LS swap everything side of it. Like I hold nothing like priceless. It's not nothing sacred. Like whatever, put a V8 in it. I don't care. I get it though.
I'm that way now.
Yeah.
I just so much pirate mess like that. But dude, I'd put a five. I'd put that 5.3 in my Jeep right now, and I'd be happy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good choice. It just is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Yeah.
it's for a like for that platform, like it's already a similar sized engine. It's already a V8. It's not really that much different than its characteristic originally, other than it's 2.5 times the power. So like that's a win.
Yeah. And it actually gets a halfway
like-
decent mileage.
It's fun
That-
too. I don't have to worry about it. Like I got in it this morning. I took my daughter to school. I took her to preschool this morning. I forgot about that. So I mean, this thing, I spent 100 miles on it today, and like, at not one point did I think, "Oh man, I hope this thing starts up." Like I hopped in it, didn't even think. It's got heat. It's got AC. I mean, I'm like LS Swap the world. I'm
You're a convert. I like it. The reliability thing is good, obviously, right? But like my maintenance going from straight six, which is a great engine, like Toyota puts a great engine in the 80 series, it's fine. It's very low on power too, but like it's huge and it's heavy, and everything about it is a pain in the ass and expensive. Even an oil change is 8 quarts, and the oil filter is in this god awful location. I can do the oil change in my swapped vehicle in 15-20 minutes, and I could go down to O'Reilly and spend $49 and get good stuff. Like it's so much better.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to beat the simplicity of it, and then like you said, just the fact that it changes everything to being it's basically just a dailyable vehicle. My LS is in a Wagoneer, like so. I mean, I'm in the same boat as you, so it's just like you just jump in it and drive it just like it's a mid 2000s car, and it's no different. It always fires up, super easy. Gets decent mileage, has all the power I need, even with 37s. Like, we're good.
That's all. Still have the Dana 44s in yours, or did you upgrade?
No, it still has 44s, but it has 513s in it, and no lockers, just a limited slip in the back. But I've wheeled it on the local hard stuff and haven't had any issues yet. So that's a positive, I think.
No, that's awesome. I wanted, to be honest with you, I wanted to keep 44s this, just because I got the Jeep for free, and I didn't want to spend, because I already had two Jeeps at this point, because I had my Jeep L, I had the Comanche, and then this lady gave me the Jeep for free, so I was just like, all right, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of money. And so now, like, I'm working on one of my next YouTube videos, not one of my next ones, but I'm kind of getting my notes together on it. Like, I'm going to go over, how much did this build cost? And I've got to figure out a way how I block my wife from seeing this video.
Well, you just tell her it's the internet, so it's made up. It's not real.
It's all for show.
But I mean, so it had the passenger side drop, and I wanted to do a driver's side drop. And I was like, well, y'all know this, if you can almost build a Dana 44 for how much you're going to build a Dana 60 nowadays. And then I found a 1979 Snowfighter F250 Dana 60, and and those are they're rare around here, especially the south of the southeast country,
Mm-hmm.
and so I jumped over it. And weirdly enough, I mean, it bolted right in. I didn't have to do purchase or anything. I literally got that axle, and I got it. I put gears in it. I put a locker in it, and I got some U-bolts, and like I put it in like 15 minutes. I mean, it like leaf spring crazy. Was,
Yeah, just meant to be, I guess, huh?
yeah, everything lined up. Man. I just kind of like looked around, like something needs to fall over. Like
I put the stock axle back in, didn't I?
So my neighbor has two square body Chevy trucks. One's like the military one. I forget what they're called. There's some whatever they are 6.2 diesel one that's 1 ton, and he got a K5 Blazer. When he bought the Blazer, he swapped everything underneath the diesel to the Blazer and swapped them. Right. Year later or so, fast forward, he finds out that he's driving the diesel truck more than the Blazer because he likes it more. It's kind of beat up. It's got pitbull rockers on it, and like it's just a really cool truck. And the Blazer's a little too nice, I think, for it. So a couple weeks ago, he stops me outside and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna do some moving around in the cul-de-sac or whatever. I'm swapping the axles between the two trucks again because I'm an idiot." Then I talked to him a few days later. He tells me a similar thing where he's like, "Oh man, I can get the axle out of these trucks in like 15 minutes. And it really only takes me about an hour and a half to put it all back together." So it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, this.
I did a spring first, and that changed a lot
Yeah.
too. Just because I knew I like a cold spring version front. I just wanted to ride it. I wanted this to be like where I could hop in it and drive to the beach or whatever, because I live like an hour from the beach. And, I just want to be able to like throw the kids in, throw the stuff in the back, go, and not have to be like beat to death or anything with the leaf springs. And so I kind of looked on some forums and talked to a couple of people, and they were like, if you do that leaf spring reversal, it changes the game. And that's one of the greatest things that I did to that Jeep for like ride quality,
Hmm.
for sure.
Yeah, mine still has the shackles on the front, so it 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 is noticeable, that it's not the greatest riding, but it's like I've done the all the things other than that like I feel like you can do. Like I've got Devers, and I've got Fox 2.0s in it. Like nothing crazy, but boy, the difference in those compared to just like a regular off the shelf shock that it had on it when I bought it was like leaps and bounds of a change. So I can imagine that swapping the shackle placement would also be quite the difference.
And one thing I will say, like one of the cons to it is that whenever I've noticed that if somebody like pulls out in front of me or something, or I have to slam on brakes pretty quick, the nose does kind of drop down. Good. I mean, it's nothing like unsafe, but it's just kind of like okay. I mean, it's just that's kind of something you got to get used to.
Just a noticeable difference, yeah.
But I mean, like I said, it's not like unsafe or anything like that. But it's just kind of it didn't do it before. I'll say.
Yeah.
What's the is that one? Do you feel like it's in its final state? I mean, that's always tough with a car guy because it's never in its final form. But like, is that where? Are you happy with where it's at? You're going to keep it there, or are you doing something wild?
Yeah, I'm looking for beadlocks for it. I'm actually thinking about putting some ready beadlocks on it. Eventually, I think I'm going to go with like gold to match the golden eagle theme that I got, and then eventually like a roll cage on the inside. But other than that, maybe do paint one day, but I don't. That's one thing that I can't I can't paint like a trail rig, or I can't paint. I don't want to paint. I want to be like, if I put like, I'd be like, that's sick. But if I painted that, like paid like, close to $10,000 getting it painted and everything, it would just probably sit in the shop just like it's doing right now and not get used.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right there with you. My other thing too, like, I think I'm sure I get this vibe that you probably could do this too. I think I could paint it, but I would be too hard on myself and I can't make that happen. And I also don't want to mess with my garage, and like all the things that are involved are not going to happen. So I'd rather just it look a little beat up. Whatever.
Honestly, like, in my opinion, the only reason people paint Jeeps like this is for other people.
There you go.
You don't paint it for yourself. I mean, like, if you're happy with it, that's all that matters. The only reason I would paint that is just to impress other people that I probably don't even really like.
Yeah, I did. So that's funny. I had this conversation at work like a year and a half ago. I redid my interior. One of my coworkers was like, well, why would you redo your interior? You got like a dent in your quarter panel and this, and this. And I was like, I don't care about that stuff. I drive it every day and I sit in it and I want it to be nice. And they're like, well, it's never going to be nice because it's got that dent. And I'm like, no, that dent's from when I ran into a tree by doing a buggy line. Like, I like that dent. I don't really... It'd be fine if it wasn't there, but like, it tells a story.
If you paint something for the person, I'm with you 100% on that.
Yeah. I like, believe me, like, you scrolling through Instagram or whatever, I see one that's in perfect condition, anything, insert vehicle here. And I'm like, yeah, that's super cool. And great. I would love to have that at some point. But then at the same time, it would probably sit until it got its first nice dent or scratch or whatever. And then it'd just go all the way down until it lands where I'm at now.
Yeah. So right back to square one. So that's that's where I was at with this, because like, I wanted to do something, crazy, because I can't stand like plain Jeep. Like, I like to have graphics. I like to have, something on it just to make it, pop. I guess. Sure. I know that's weird to say, but like, I was like, well, either I'm going to paint it or I'm going to put a 4-foot eagle on the hood.
You know where you landed.
Yeah. Hey, look.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. The graphics too. I mean, you did the graphics on the Comanche as well, which turned out really cool too. I think it fits really well with like the way the Comanche looks. So
yeah, I actually got a lot of hate on those graphics from people. They were telling me that they were Toyota graphics.
Oh, they do look a little Toyota-ish, but that's a good thing.
Yeah, so it's funny because they're called hockey stick graphics on the Comanche, and they're actually sport truck graphics. And
from a Volkswagen?
No, sport truck from Comanches.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it was like the 2-wheel drive long bed or whatever.
But yeah, so I like those the best. But if you go to if you Google like Jeep Comanche sport truck, that's what they are. Except for I got mine just plain, or I got a guy who made them just to not put sport truck in there.
Yeah,
right.
And that way, I just have I call it 2 hockey sticks. And but yeah, people were just like, "Why would you put Toyota decals on your Comanche?" I'm just like, whatever.
Well, they're not, but
I don't
okay.
need to explain this.
I'm not going to go into it this time again.
Look, and I really I want to put like the GoPro on my face and just go to a gas. And I want like the world to see how many people come and it's like, dude, that is the coolest Toyota I've ever seen in my life. Right on. It's called a Toyota more than crazy.
Oh,
yeah. Well, that's kind of the plight
I guess at
of
a distance,
Jeep
if
truck.
you squint.
Well, it's the plight of the Jeep truck. Is like not a lot of people know that like there's a Comanche. Like it's everybody just sees an old 4x4 truck and they're like, oh, an old Toyota. But no, like Jeep had trucks too. They just didn't have that many of them.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Briley National Forest, but it's probably the closest rock crawling to me. It's about 3 hours away. It's on the like probably western part of the state of North Carolina. But so I was at an off-road park, and I was at like the little general store where kind of all the off-roaders like go to meet, get food, and get gas. And this guy comes, and I was waiting in line, and this guy comes up to me. He was like, "Man, did you see that Toyota outside?" And I look, and like my truck right there out front. And I was like, "No, I didn't see it." He was like, "It's right there." I can't see it. And I'm just Toyota. I mean, I like.
Yeah.
And you think somebody like that would know better. Like if they're at an, like they ought to know, like the difference.
Yeah. What do you even say to that? Like just to okay.
It's like what? Yeah, what do you say? Like it's not like if I told him it was a Jeep, he'd just look at me like, oh, "Hell no, brother."
No, it's not. It's got those Toyota graphics on it.
Got these stickers on it. That was the internet would just.
What about that one? What's next with that one? That thing looks like it's pretty much not as far as you can go, but it's there.
So I'm really thinking about doing like a hybrid exo cage on that. I want to do I just want something that's like concealed and that protects the cab. I just want some tubes coming up. I don't want like a freaking jungle gym all over it. Because I still take the Comanche on like date night. Like that's like my thing. Like that's like that's like our date night vehicle. Like when I take my wife out.
It's the 2-seater.
Yeah. It's got a PBR beer can shifter on it and everything.
It's real classy.
Yeah. But I'm really thinking about doing an exo cage on it, but just like a tasteful one. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
Like on a lot of it hidden by where it comes up. Like for this example, it would come up like behind the fender where you can't see it come up, and then kind of just be super low and just something that it looks nice, but if Comanche, they're unibodies, so if you roll that bitch, then you're done.
Yeah.
You are done. Like no replacing the cab.
Yeah.
Like it's game over. You've got to find like another Comanche.
Yeah.
And I do not want to do all that work. So I'm thinking I want to do something, where it just protects the cab, because you can replace the bed, you can replace, the front end, but you can't replace the cab on a Comanche. You can, but you're not going to like it. It's never going to be.
No. There's like a Land Cruiser guy that I follow at some point on Instagram. He's like somebody that rarely posts, and he's got a really good exo cage, and it's really rare that you find them that are like that tight, that don't look like an exo cage. It just looks like, hey, that's a bar. That's interesting. And it kind of ties to a like roof rack scenario, and then it drops back actually through the cab of the truck, I think, or the body of the truck on the way in the back. Like it doesn't go around the outside and the back. So it's pretty cool. It's got an A-pillar bar that's outside and a hoop around the top, I think, but that's it.
That's kind of what I want to do expansion. Because if it flops, you live, then you're done.
Oh, it's terrifying. Speaking of a tie-in to BMX, a lot more living and you're flopping, but what? So with those two being at that point, like, is there anything on the horizon? You got any big other projects down the road? You hunting down any other old ladies for cars?
No, I honestly, like, my plate is full right now, to be honest with you. I'm building a TJ for one of my buddies.
Okay.
Um,
I think
it's
it's
like a '98 TJ with like moto built armor, Rubicon 44 in the front, 8.8 rear, 37,
nice.
and I'm building that like on my YouTube channel.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so once I get done with that, there's actually like a million boxes right there behind my dirt bike,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be a Cherokee for another one of my buddies. And then once I get done with it, then we're going to go on like off-road trips, and we're just going to beat the fuck out of all of it. And
yeah, that's what
That
you
sounds
built it for.
fantastic.
So yeah, let's go.
all out on the TJ. I mean, he spent like he got the Rusty's long arm kit, and I mean he paid more for the Rusty's long arm kit than he did for the whole Jeep.
Yeah.
But then the Cherokee that I'm about to build, and he's kind of done it like budget friendly, and we're gonna put them head to head.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Cherokee's got the wheelbase, but this Jeep's got the parts. So we're just gonna, I mean, it's content, man.
Yep.
I mean,
That's the
what
game.
it's about.
Yeah, what that was the next thing I was going to ask you. Actually, I've been thinking about it for a little bit. How did you get into that? Like, what got you doing content?
So I started with Instagram. That kind of my page kind of blew up. Not blew up, but it kind of once I got the Comanche built, the followers just kind of came all at once, and and then especially after I got in a wreck with the Comanche, and that's another story we'll get into, but the YouTube stuff, like I was just like obsessed with watching YouTube. Like I was watching, Bleeping Jeep, Fab Rats, just the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, I do this stuff like at night, like because I was just at the funeral home, just like, man, I wish I could be doing this. And then like I get home, and that's what I would be doing. So I just started setting cameras up. I mean, my first videos are horrible. I mean, they're god awful. But I mean, I started editing, and I started putting out videos, and it kind of just snowballed. And I still would say like I suck at YouTube. YouTube is a different animal.
Yeah.
But some days I think I got it figured out. Like last week, I got like over 100 subscribers in one day,
That's awesome.
and then like the next day it was just like I got like 3 subscribers. I'm just like, what? Like why? Like I don't get it. I don't understand. But what I really want to do is I mean like I finally got monetized, and
cool.
that took a long time. But I just want to like I just want my YouTube just to like put a dent in the expense for my hobbies, because I mean I enjoy it. Like to be honest, like I guess going out of my comfort zone. Like even talking with y'all. Like I mean y'all are like the like super cool, but like I've never done anything like this before, and I appreciate y'all letting me do it, but. It's just kind of like getting out of your comfort zone. Like you're just exposing yourself. Because I mean, like if I work on this and I record myself and I accidentally call like my wheels a rim, then you've got like 30 people like just beating you up.
Yeah.
And but I mean, then again, hey, argument in comments, please.
The comments drive it. So yeah. So you almost want to drop the
Please
mistakes.
Engage.
I think like looking back at some of these YouTubers, like I think sometimes they do stuff like that. But I mean, it's that's how they make money.
Yep.
So I don't like I'm not knocking them or anything.
No, it's their business.
Yep. Yeah, that brings it back to Cunningham's Law, like Tyson was talking about on one of our earlier podcasts, like 3 episodes ago or whatever it was. And Cunningham's Law is the easiest way to find the correct answer is not to ask for the correct answer, it's to give the incorrect answer. And then everyone will argue about it, and that's how you find the right answer.
You're right about it. and then people will read comments, and then they'll go back and watch the video, and then that's just a couple of ads pop up in between that.
Uh-huh.
Hey, that's money in your pocket.
Yep. Get on that
Oh,
wheel.
that's good. Well, that's awesome. I that's something that I'm always interested in, is like how people started that, what their successes are, what their failures are. Like that's a really cool thing that I think it's out there. Like people talk about it a little bit here and there, but like when you meet a lot of people that are, how do I put this? Kind of like influencer types that are higher up in that, they're not necessarily willing to share their failure, or they're like, oh man, I can't believe if people argue in my comments, I make more money. Like, and that's a fun conversation to have. So like, I appreciate you saying that, because I think that's a thing that needs to be out there more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's it's like I'll be honest with you. Ever since YouTube, I look at social media totally different now. Like I look at these YouTubers totally different. Like I have a lot more respect for a lot of them, and I've lost a lot of respect for some of them too.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's tough, man. Doing YouTube, like, I mean, I got a full-time job at a funeral home. Then I have, 2 little kids and a wife, and then I've got to be doing YouTube stuff. And if you don't put out YouTube videos like every 2 weeks and do shorts in between that, they pretty much kick you out of the algorithm. And I mean,
Good
so
luck.
I would say YouTube is like a part-time job
Yep.
for me, for sure.
100%.
Yeah, I could believe that. So you're putting out pretty regular content. Obviously, I skimmed through your stuff, and like I'd seen some of your projects before, but like looking at it a little deeper with like, hey, we're gonna have Briley on here. Let's see what's going on. Have you? I mean, you're on it then now. You're moving through.
Yeah, I would say it's picking up. It's picking up a little steam. Like I've picked up a couple of cool sponsors.
That's awesome.
And that's something that's just like super weird to
Yeah.
that people are kind of sending me messages. But I think what it is, because I'm still like fresh to it, so it's not like I have like demands,
Yeah.
Like you give me a care package like every week. That's like
If the trailer doesn't have LaCroix in it, I'm not showing up.
76 degrees, but like, I mean, give me some free stuff and a T-shirt. I'll put it in my videos all day long. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's cool. Like, I'm not doing this for like a job though, but
Yeah.
and then like with like Onyx Off-Road. I mean, they're like the influencer map app. And I mean that's cool stuff, man. That they would pick somebody small like me to even do it.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, they are. Well, I think they have great products too. By the way, shout out to Onyx there, because not only do they do really well at investing in some of the pieces, influencers and events and things like that, but like that product is really good. Like we needed that a couple of years ago when that came out. I was like, oh my god, this is so much better. Sorry, Colin, I know you really liked the alternate at that point too.
Yeah. But I mean, it's also,
but
we didn't
like
have Onyx before that, so I was using what our option was.
What we had. Actually, I just saw the Matt's Off-Road Recovery YouTube recently. I saw that he started using Onyx, and I thought it was funny because I remember him talking about at some point along the way that he just used Google Maps because it was the same thing. And now he's like, I'm using Onyx. It's amazing. And I was like, you really got
I saw
me
what
there.
we did here.
Yeah. But again, I can't, like, I said that and I thought to myself, whatever. I have a baited question here because Colin and I had a little argument about this. This is the last thing that I actually wrote down. If you had to build a $5,000 or less vehicle, what are you starting with? Hold on, wait a minute. That's $5,000 all in. So you're, like, how do I phrase this? Colin, can you give me the way we did our challenge?
It wasn't all in. It was like 5K is your maximum buy-in price. After that, you can do whatever to it. But the idea was you're buying something that you can basically, hopefully, you can either go out and use right then, however you're wanting to use it, or, you know, you get it cheap enough that you can put some stuff into it so that you can do what you want to do with it.
Got it. Yeah.
I would say a TJ, solely because it's already coil sprung front and rear. It's already linked front and rear. It's got a good frame. It's got a good tub. I mean, it's the last years of the actual tubbed Jeeps. And I mean, it's got a good, it would have to be a 6-cylinder, 5-speed. And I mean, and then, it's endless from there. 'Cause, I mean, you could cut the frame and stretch it, make it to LJ length. I mean, you can do that, I mean, it would cost money, but, you could do it.
Yeah.
So I would say, or even a YJ. But my first pick would be a TJ.
Man, I had you pinned for XJ. I just knew it. I was like, he'll pick an XJ for sure. We did this as an episode, and like we did top fives, right? So like we horned you into a corner there, but we did top fives, and it was like unanimous. The XJ was the one that made it on everybody's list, and then closely followed by the Montero, surprisingly enough. But we did Montero as a whole, and we do have a little bit more of a like. There's a lot of overland going on here, so it's not quite all hardcore wheeling, so that kind of fits a little bit. But I thought TJ makes sense. I get it. And Mike will be just screaming at this.
Don't have to worry about like anything like that. It's solid. That frame is solid from the factory. I mean, the frames are where it's at. I've been broke and cracked a lot of unibodies in my day. So,
Yeah.
I promised myself I would never build another unibody.
Here we are.
Isn't the Comanche like a half though?
Yeah, the Comanche. I was half.
Yeah, there you go.
But I did do stiffeners front and rear all the way down on that one on the Comanche.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the best things I did. That it stiffened it up like crazy.
Yeah, the body flexes a lot. That is something that they really do. Like I think they're amazing, and obviously part of the reason that there's so many of them and they were so cheap is because of that. Like that's part of the thing. But they have a great bit of gear for what they are. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah. So you said you'd want it to be a manual. And I know that the Comanche is a manual. So does that also mean you are a manual for off-roading over an automatic type of guy?
Mm-hmm.
All day long.
Okay.
All right.
Everything needs to be like my F-250. But I will say this is an automatic.
Okay.
I wanted 5-speed, but I also wanted it to where if I had to take my wife's car to get an oil change, she could hop in this, turn the AC on, and drive it to work, and no issues at all. Like I wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So the only reason I did that was because it's kind of user friendly. Like if my dad wanted to drive it or something, my mom, like they could hop in. My mom likes 5-speed too.
See where it came from then.
All of my rock and everything that like dedicated rock crawlers like my LJ and the Comanche is going to be 5-speed. I can't stand automatics on the trail. I don't know why. It just feels like it's just gross. Like I don't know what to do with my hands. Like
I don't know what to do with my hands. What am I supposed to do here? I just over the end of the summer, I drove one of our buddies' rigs, an XJ, in the rocks, and it was the first time I guess second time I'd ever driven like an off-road vehicle as a manual, and I had the exact opposite where I was just like, okay, so I have to shift now. Okay, I'll use the clutch. Weird. All right, I guess I'm clutch kicking this. This is strange. I don't know what I'm doing now. And it was like almost natural, right? All the things happened because I knew what was going on, but it didn't feel right.
I mean, it's like an acquired taste.
Yeah.
Manual. I love them. Like, it just you feel so much more like grounded and connected to the vehicle. I mean, like you're literally using everything that you have. Like, you feel like an octopus at some points. Like you're slamming into second. You've got your foot on the brake, kind of pushing the gas, letting out the clutch all the way. I mean, and one hand on the wheel, and then you're trying to look. I mean, I love it. I love it.
That's good.
I mean,
I think for me, cars always manual. Other than like whatever your normal stupid daily driver or whatever, it's automatic is fine. But off road, I think I really like the comfort of the manual. I mean the auto. I think I'm way too used to it now.
Yeah.
Like I could go back, it'd be fine. But if you gave me 2 doors, I'm picking the automatic door most likely.
well, I have a theory, and I may be proved wrong. We'll see this on the internet, but I like manual because I think that manual Jeeps roll less frequently.
Okay.
Because, hear me out, because with an automatic, if you slam on brakes, you still have power going to the tires. So if you go up a rock and it starts going back and you hit the brakes, they're still spinning. You slam that clutch down, it comes down, you roll backwards. No issues.
Okay.
So think about just think about that.
I mean,
that's my theory.
It's a fair argument theory wise. I can see how that would be because you slam the clutch in, and you're removing all drive from anything. So as long as it's not so far over that it's just going to go over anyway, it's most likely just going to drop the weight because of the pivot point. So yeah, I can understand the argument.
There's some guys that have the rock crawlers, and I cannot think of what they're called. It's like the bump shifters, but they have it like in drive, and they have it where they can just slam it into reverse. Exact situation. You may mess up your transmission, but you walk away from it.
Yeah, sure.
My thing is clutch. That's what the clutch is for. So if they build it with a 5-speed, they would already have one installed. So that's
I mean, there's one thing that I can feel here. Like if you're up, like, so if I'm on rocks and I'm trying to go up something and it's loaded up, right? Like it takes a lot in an automatic to get that load back off. Either you're going in neutral or you're backing up. Like that's the only way. So there's no quick way to say, okay, I've gone too far. I've gone offline, whatever's happening here. So this is going to be a problem. I need to get out of it. It's really slam on the brakes and hope for the best. But yeah, in a manual, you jab the clutch and all of that drivetrain load goes away. It's just gone. And so it settles, everything's fine. So I'll give you that. I don't know if I scientifically believe there's less rolling, but no, I'm just kidding.
We're going to need some statistics on this one.
I think you need a YouTube video.
Stuff and start doing like internet watching I think people break axle shafts and they break transfer cases less with manual transmission because of that exact reason. Because you think about it, when you're driving a manual transmission and something happens that you don't like, what do you instantly do? You slam on brakes and you push the clutch in.
Yeah.
So instantly all that torque is gone, and then the tires are coming to a halt. And all that strain and everything it's not bouncing on rocks or anything like that because if it's stopped, it's just going to slide back. It's not rolling or anything or trying to go forwards.
Yeah,
I've always argued the opposite of that, but I realize now the flaw in my argument is bad drivers, right? It's not. It's because the potential is there to take all that shock, but if you've got somebody who's fine with just giving it a little bit more right pedal, then that load, right, without any torque dampening that's it. You're done. But I get it. If you're smart,
I mean, all of our
works.
experiences have been the guys with the manuals are the ones that are breaking, but it's not in the same sense. It's like it's the shock loading on like starting to go. Like that's when Luke broke his axles at Klein, was like getting up on the first shelf and the rear tire needs to hit that next shelf, and just mistiming the dropping of the clutch as it runs into the rock, and it just bam, just snaps the axle right there. So like it is a little give and take there. It's the getting the timing and everything. And also I think that gearing makes a huge difference. Like if you've got a doubler, then you're going to be way less likely to do that shock loading on the front end, which is why we keep telling Tyson to put a doubler in the XJ because he breaks stuff. So
I put a TJ Rubicon case in my Comanche, and that was a game changer.
Oh man, that ratio is so much better. We did a thing over the summer as well where I ended up using a different buddy's rig for a weekend of wheeling. Or I guess it was one day out of the weekend. And oh my God, a Rubicon with a 4-to-1 case.
Yeah.
It's like a cheat code. People love it for a great reason. Like I love my Land Cruiser. It's great. It does everything I want it to do really well. But it sure doesn't have that.
It's seriously just like a cheat code. I mean, it's nuts. It really is.
Yeah, put that in, lock it up, go. That's pretty much what you got to do. Keep the AC on and the windows up so that you can just idle over things. That's really the best part.
Manual transmission, it's almost a must that you have a 4-to-1 transfer case.
Yeah.
I wheeled a long time with a 231 and that Comanche, and that was like I took it to Windrock with a 231, and like my leg just looked like the Hulk. Where I was going in and out on the clutch.
Oh man. Yeah.
Like I was bored. Like we went back. We would go back to like our Airbnb. Like I'm tired. I can't hold the ball.
I'm just gonna put my left leg up for a bit.
Yeah. That's the side of manual that people.
Yeah.
Oh man, cool. You have any questions for us? You got anything that you want to talk about, or shout, or plug out, or plug or shout out? One of the two.
I can't think. I appreciate all of it. Taking my podcast identity, I guess.
Yeah. Oh man. Really happy to be here for that.
Yeah, I bet you never thought it'd be two dudes, huh?